Hello everyone and welcome to this 50% race at the Yeongam circuit in Korea. A few of you guys requested it, so here we go then. So once again just showing you guys there that I am using no assist at all. So jumping straight into the strategy then, we've got 28 laps. At the moment I'm starting on the options, then prime. But I'm going to switch to the options as a start tyre because I can see on the right hand side there it's got 68% chance of rain, so it's really quite likely to rain. So I'll start on the prime tyre to give me maximum flexibility in case it rains towards the beginning. I'm just extending each lap to pit on by an extra lap. So one lap later than it was suggesting. Okay, here we go then. So like I said, I'm hoping that everyone else starts on options because I'm starting from the back of the grid as well. I didn't mention that just yet. Starting from the back of the grid to give me a bit more of a challenge because it is a long race. So if I started near the front, I probably would just win comfortably. So it is on legendary though, so it shouldn't be too easy. So yeah, starting on the prime tyre in the hope that everyone else starts on options and pits early so that I can get out a little bit longer and then go on to the inters if it does start to rain. Gives me a little bit more flexibility there. Okay, so we've got 5 laps extra fuel, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we're off. I will get a bad start though, because I like to stay behind for the first lap because it's too easy to overtake on the first lap, so I could probably get up to sort of 8th after the first lap, maybe even higher. So on these longer races I like to start from the back and cruise around the first lap, stay at the back, stay stone cold last, and then as soon as I cross the line to start my second lap is when it really begins. So I even stay behind the back markers. It will help me because it means I save a bit of fuel and also save my tyres. As you can see there, I've put lean mix here and I'm using very low revs and not much throttle. Ooh, was I nearly greened to the back of Petrov there. Was a little bit close. Took me a bit by surprise how early they were braking there. So as you can see there, lap 1 of 28, so I'm up to 6 laps of fuel already. Lap 1 of 28, so it's a long old race, 50% distance, so in real life it's about an hour and 45 minutes. So I'm expecting it to last probably just under an hour, somewhere around there. Okay, so it's actually surprisingly difficult to stay at the back here, because they are rather catastrophically slow when you're in a Ferrari. Of course they're slow anyway, but they're also minding each other, so they're even slower because of that. Probably have a little bit cold tyres as well at the beginning, so they're starting to build up a bit of speed now through the higher speed corners. Throughout this video, since it will be quite a long one, I will also just sort of keep you not updated, but sort of talk about the this morning's race as I'm recording it. I'm recording it on Sunday afternoon, the Korean Grand Prix. I don't know how many of you guys have watched the real F Formula 1 races, but I certainly do. I'm very much into it. And I should think quite a lot of you are as well, since you're playing the official Formula 1 game. So once things start to die down a little bit later on in the race, I will talk a little bit about that, make it a bit more interesting. Okay, so going to rich fuel mixture then to get some nice good power on the home straight. As I now put my foot down, use all the revs to try and get up to Glock a bit. Got plenty of curves, all my curves left, so I'm using all that to get right up to alongside on the line. So there's the line then, let's go. There we go, straight away up to 23rd place. So no hanging about. Under braking, I get right up to 22nd place. Oh, I almost clocked the curb there and pushed Petrov out wide. I believe it's Petrov out wide. There we go, that was fair though. I did have the inside line there. I was using most of my curves there down this long straight to come up on De La Rosa, using 21st. Looks like I might get Pick as well. Yep, up alongside Pick. Oh, bit of contact there. He did turn in on me a little bit. The 20th, and Kovalani gets a bad exit, and I've got a bit of curves left, so I'll have him. And Karthikeyan as well, why not? Up into P18. There we go, that's the back markers done then. But that we always knew that was going to be easy. 10 seconds up my previous lap, look at that. So you go to standard fuel, well I don't need to use too much, because I'm only going to be building the, only going to be closing the gap to the car in front, so I'm not too worried about fuel for now, but I do want to conserve it later in the race so I can push harder when I need to, when I'm up against the big boys. So then for this high speed section, as you can see on the menu up there, I'm already about halfway there relative to the back markers. So I'm doing pretty well. Ooh, as I get a bit of oversteer there. Clock the curb. Get a bit of a drift on. So best at the moment is a 2 minute 1.9. I'm expecting times to be quite a bit quicker than that. Probably high 40s, I would say. Yeah, it looks like it. Or mid 40s actually at the moment. Around mid 40s, somewhere around there is where I'll be aiming to be. So I need to be nice and consistent throughout this whole race. It's no good setting the world on fire with one lap and then being incredibly slow the next lap. So, although I do need to push because obviously I can't be going slow, or as I'll get nowhere. I'm only in 18th at the moment, although I am gaining on the guys in front, only 1.2 back. my engineer tells me that the DRS has been activated. So it's 44.9 then, so yes, I was almost exactly right, wasn't I? Mid 40, sorry. Fastest lap of the race as well, so it shows that I have clearly got the speed to win this one. Let's see if I can do it then. Still plenty of laps left, still 25 odd laps left. So going to rich mixture then. I'm expecting to be right behind these. Ooh, so I have a bit more speed on them than I anticipated. So there's one dispatched off, 17th. Looks like I'm going to try and get a slipstream with Ricardo in front of me. And there we go, that's 16th. See if I can get Ricardo under braking then. Diving up the inside to this corner, and there we go, alongside him, got the inside line, and there we go, that's that job done. Half a second up again on my previous lap. Oh, I went a little bit wide into that first corner there. Get a better line into the second one though, that's good. Okay, so it's 15th already then. But I know that the people at the front, I think it's Hamilton in the lead at the moment, will be pulling away from the pack. So just because it looks good, and on the mini-map look, there is quite a big queue there, but I suspect the leaders will be quite a way ahead still, so I've still got to work out for me for sure. As I was talking there, my engineer told me that the guy in front is on option tyres, so I might struggle to catch him, but I don't think so. I'm in a Ferrari and that's Senna in a Williams, so I should be okay. So 2.4 back then, 2 tenths up my previous lap, so I've lost a couple of tenths in that middle sector. I'm clouting these big curves. I don't really want to do that, it's not the quickest way around this circuit. You need to try and avoid the curves if you can. That one, see again, gave me a snap of oversteer there. That one you can get away with if you take it smoothly, but Hamilton's fastest lap then, 44.3, and I do a 44.7, so he's 4 tenths faster than that last lap, so yeah, I do need to push it. So my engineer tells me there could be some rain a little bit later on in the race, but it's not just yet, so we'll have quite a few laps of dries left for now. So again on the mini-map, I'm around halfway between Ricardo and Senna there, so I'm doing the job, but not quite quick enough. I do need to be consistently faster than Hamilton, who's in the lead all the way throughout this race, so I'm obviously not going to be able to beat him, so I do need to try and pick up the speed a little bit if I can. Using the rest of my curves there on this second or third straight, I suppose, of the lap. On the mini-map there, that's 4 cars all quite bunched up quite tightly, so they'll be slowing each other down. That'll give me a bit of an advantage, as I post more or less the same lap time as I did last lap. Always have a little look up at the inside of Senna, lock up my wheels, and a bit of contact there, but got away with it. Can I hold it out? He's still on the inside of me there, and looks like I've managed to get him on the outside of that corner. Cheeky little dive at the inside there, locked my wheels because I did brake very late, just a bit of a opportunistic move that one was. And that's 14th for me then. Did make a bit of contact, but it wasn't anything too bad. Okay, so clouting these big curbs again, see that's what it does, there we go, big snap of oversteer. I do need to try and stay away from it if I can. These curbs are alright, because these are sort of incremental curves, but it's the big curbs that you wallop as you go over them. I don't want to be touching them. So again, these curbs all around here are fine. It's this curb on the left here you want to be avoiding, see it's much bigger than the others, and this next one on the right is also another big one. So 8 tenths down then, but I did just make an overtake, so it can be forgiven as long as I'm not losing too much time. So even though I'm actually fighting with these guys back here, I know that realistically I'm hopefully fighting with, there we go, Hamilton up front, who's done a 44.0. I'm definitely not going to beat that, but let's see what I do. 45.5, so 1.5 seconds down. Wow, okay, so I do need to pick up the speed for sure. It's a bit of a strange one, like I said, I'm fighting the guys in front of me on track, but actually, realistically, I'm fighting the guys much further up. So my engineer, I get DRS there. Help me close the gap. Won't be able to overtake, I shouldn't think, in the straight, but help me close that gap. My engineer was telling me that Rosberg should pit the next 2 laps, but I'm not too worried. Oh, as he does brake very early, I do manage to come up alongside him. That was a pretty good move. They're obviously quite early on the brakes at this stage in the race at least. I did have DRS, so I did also have quite a bit of speed as I turned my engine back down to standard there. So 6 tenths, 6.5, oh, almost 7 tenths up on my previous lap, it's a bit more like it. Think about doing the same thing on Duresta, but locked my outside wheel and run a bit wide there, unfortunately. I was too far back anyway, so I didn't really bother trying it, but I then had to swerve to get back to the racing line, which caused my wheels to lock, or my outside front at least to lock. Okay, so full throttle on these set of corners then, a little bit of brakes for this next corner. I've got a track guide on my channel if you haven't seen it already, if you want to know how to drive this circuit fast. You see there my tyres are starting to wear there. Still got 6 laps extra of fuel, which means I've got 6 laps more fuel than I need to get to the end of the race on standard mixture. So I can know that I've got a bit of rich mixture in hand. 1.2 of my previous lap, that's a bit more like it. That's on for a 44.3-ish. So let's see if I can make it up. Oh, there's a lot of inside wheel there, run very wide. Didn't want to be doing that. Let's get a little bit restricted as I went off track there. So rich fuel mixture for me then. Try and get the rest into these next couple of straights. See if I can do it. So down to 5 laps extra. 8 tenths up, 44.734. My engineer tells me that the rest is running full revs, so we'll be on the same fuel mixture. Only 8 tenths down, so I should get DRS using plenty of my curves to make sure I stay nice in touch with him. Looks like I'm going to easily do this, so I'll turn my fuel mixture down to medium because it's going to be an easy overtake. Don't want to waste fuel unnecessarily. Okay, so providingly I don't outbrake myself into this next corner. I'll do a little bit, but I think I'll probably get away with it. Yeah, got away with it. Okay, he's not getting enough for me, so he's not going to get me, so that's that then. So Vettel's next then. Complete opposite to what it was in the Korean Grand Prix, when he was in first. Well, not opposite, because that'll be last, but it's very different, isn't it? Him in 10th to first place, and a reasonably comfortable win for him in the Korean Grand Prix. So while I catch up with Vettel then, I will just talk about the Grand Prix in real life a little bit. So it was an interesting race, I thought. Could have been more interesting for sure. I mean, Red Bulls started 1 and 2 and they finished 1 and 2 in a slightly different order to what they started, but they was still, just purely from that point of view, it was quite a boring race, but I thought it was reasonably good anyway. I personally am a Hamilton supporter. I don't know whether that will split you guys in the comments or whatever, but I personally support Hamilton. I don't know if I'm going to stick with McLaren or Hamilton next year. I don't know which way to go yet, but doesn't seem to have much luck lately, does he, Hamilton? His rear suspension broke again, same as it did in Japan in the last race. As my engineer tells me it might be light rain in 10 minutes. Ooh, as I nearly get the wall there. Massive snap of oversteer, and that put the rest right back on my tail. So he's going to have DRS on me, so I'll turn my fuel mixture back up to rich to try and stay ahead of him. So I'm going to need to use probably all my curves down this straight to... He's going to have the DRS, like I said, but if I'm far enough ahead of him, he won't be able to catch me anyway, as I do indeed use all my curves, and it looks like I'm probably going to get away with it. He's trying not to make too many mistakes though. Consistency is the key. So back down to standard then, as I quickly flip through the menus there. That's how quick my eyes work when I'm racing. Sometimes I forget I'm recording and just flick too quick for you guys to see. I didn't even see that then, so I don't expect you guys to. You can always rewind a bit. But I'm sure I would have probably taken most of the information in as I was flicking through there. So 3 tenths up, purple sectors, that's the fastest of anyone in the race. Still 2.6 down on Vettel then, starting to lose some grip out of these tyres now. I can feel it a little bit slower than it was, but it's not too bad. So yeah, going back to Hamilton in this race, he doesn't really seem to have much luck. Double suspension failure. Don't know if it was the same side, but it was certainly both rear suspension in both Suzuka, which fixed itself, and Korea, which broke itself mid-race. So it's a bit unlucky, but... And also with McLaren just generally being unlucky, it's with Button getting smashed out by Kobayashi. Wasn't fully Kobayashi's fault really, but it was a bit of a racing incident. But I guess if you qualify that far back, qualified in 11th, you've got to expect a bit of contact. Grosjean kept his nose clean though, didn't he? Contrast to previous races where he's had quite messy first lap incidents, he managed to keep his nose clean throughout the entire of this race. I noticed with Grosjean though, he after the start, he is a very good driver. He's quick, he's consistent, and he won't make much contact. He is actually a really good driver, but run a little bit wide and get some grass on my tyres there. But just on the starts, he just seems to just try and move the world of his starts, and I think he hopefully has learned from that now, but that's not the way it goes in Formula 1. In GP2 perhaps, but in Formula 1 it's more about the long game. I think he's used to in GP2 all having the same car, so once you've settled into your pace it's very difficult to overtake. But in Formula 1, of course, he's got a faster car than a lot of the field, so you don't need to do everything in the first couple of corners, which hopefully he's learned that now. As my engineer tells me that Vettel's running standard revs in front of me, so I'm running standard revs at the moment, but that should give me an advantage hopefully when I come up to the back of him. So another purple first sector then, fastest of anyone. Not too bad. So yeah, going back to McLaren's luck, they in real life they don't seem to have too much luck at the moment, but I mean, you do make your own luck, I suppose. Button frustrates me with his lack of speed at times. I think he's not very good compared to Hamilton personally. But yes, they do make their own luck, so it was Button's fault that he was so far back that he got smashed into, I suppose, because the more out the front you are, the more out of damage you are, in theory anyway. Out of harm's way anyway. So they do seem to be having horrible luck last couple of races, don't they? It's not going very well for them at all, but I think that's pretty much why Hamilton's left them, because you could call it luck, but it's pretty much been like that for the last sort of 3 or 4 years for McLaren, hasn't it? It's not been going well for them at all. So I think pretty much in Hamilton's mind, he's more than happy he's moving to Mercedes next year, as it's not gone to plan for him at all. I think he's pretty much justified that his decision to move, as the couple of cars pit in front of me, that'll give me a bit of free air to hopefully overtake them through the pits. I'll give him a fast lap of the race there. So yeah, I think it's Hamilton's probably happy with his decision now that McLaren have had a bad couple of races. I think the reason is why he was so unhappy a couple of races ago when he was winning is because he'd already pretty much made his mind up to move to Mercedes, and then of course he started winning again in the McLaren, and it sort of made him wonder whether he'd made the wrong choice. But now I think he's pretty happy with his choice. And I personally blame McLaren for losing Hamilton, because frankly he's one of the best drivers. I won't say the best, because that's up for debate, but he's certainly one of the best, partly along with this man here, Fernando Alonso. And Sebastian Vettel's in there somewhere as well, and Sebastian Vettel, but he's definitely one of the best. But he's been in it for, I think it's his 6th year in Formula 1, and he's only won 1 title. Shoulda, woulda, coulda won the first title, but that was his rookie season, so that can sort of be forgiven. Of course, he did win his 2nd attempt. His 3rd attempt was 2009 when Brawn was winning, so they unfortunately were miles ahead along with Red Bull. So then McLaren was with her that, which again is all McLaren's fault. Certainly not Lewis's though. And then 2010 again playing catch up. 2011 Red Bull had that dominant car, so they're pretty much still playing catch up. And this year 2012 they're back in it, I would say. Because my engineer tells me light rain in 5 minutes. So I'd say this year they start with a faster car, didn't they? Everyone really agrees on that pretty much. They just haven't been able to capitalise on it. It's been reliability for them this season, not speed of the car. There's been many problems for them, hasn't there? Ooh, as I get a bit of rear lock in there, as I've turned my brake bias to the rearward, so I did get a bit of rear lock in there. Got to be a bit mindful of that. But yeah, so going back to McLaren in real life, it's I personally think it's all their fault anyway. I fully understand the reasons for Hamilton moving, as a McLaren conveniently comes out in front of me from the pits there. Who was that? Probably Hamilton, I would suspect. So we'll see how that plays out in a moment. So I believe I've just read some news. I'm sure once this video is live it'll probably be fully confirmed, but that Massa's staying at Ferrari as well for next year at least. So what I read was more speculative rather than, as I overtake Grosjean there for 3rd place, and looking at Hamilton for 2nd place, who's just come out of the pits. So we'll have colder tyres. Round the outside of him, easy overtake with his cold tyres and my warm tyres. He should be straight back on my rear end though once he gets his tyres up to temperature, as he'll have much fresher tyres than me. But we are on the same compound, both on the prime harder tyre. So yeah, going back to Felipe Massa in Ferrari, I think Massa's an interesting one. I mean, he's more or less world champion, wasn't he, in 2008, but Hamilton clinched it. So he's certainly a good driver, but just since he had that spring to the helmet, he's not quite been so strong. He's, as my engineer tells me, that Raikkonen's using a lower fuel mixture. So he's just not been the same, which is unfortunate, because he is a very good driver, and I think he does deserve a good drive. But from Ferrari's point of view, what can you do? He's not very good. So they were going to bin him, but like I said, I think they've re-signed him for at least another year. So we'll wait to hear about that one. I will put an annotation on screen now if it's not true, but I believe it will be, and he has showed much better pace in the last couple of races, hasn't he? With that 2nd place in Japan and a 4th place, could have been 3rd, maybe even 2nd in Korea. Was it not for the team orders against Fernando Alonso, which is fair enough. I personally think they should have let him go and had a pop at Webber, and then if it didn't work out, just drop straight back behind Fernando. He might as well have had a pop, because he definitely had more pace. I think towards the end of the race he was 5 or 6 seconds behind Alonso in the Korean Grand Prix, but he definitely had more pace towards the beginning of this. As I get loads of rear locking again, I think I need to put my brake bias towards the rear. So Hamilton managed to get me, but let's see if I can get him back then into the slipstream. It's got better straight line speed than him. My setup is 1 off dry, so I should have better straight line speed than them, because I believe they always go for the middle, unfortunately. Middle setup. So I should have more straight line speed. There we go, as I set my brakes to neutral. So I should have more straight line speed than them, but at the sacrifice of cornering speed, in theory. So yeah, so Massa, I believe, is staying at Ferrari for at least another year, so I think that's good. Hopefully he'll come back as strong as he has been the last couple of races next year and the rest of this season, because I would like to see him starting to challenge Fernando. I think he's always going to be second driver to Fernando, as I think most people will be. There's not many people that can challenge him. I think Lewis was one of the few, and we all know what happened there. But yes, it should be interesting next year if he is there to see how it goes. I think next year, if he has a year like this year, that'll be it. See you later, Massa. But let's see. We'll wait and see on that one. So there's plenty of other drive movements, isn't there? It's all speculative at the moment. Again, it might all be confirmed by the time this goes live, but at the time of making, at least, there was no confirmation for Sauber or Lotus. In fact, I suspect that Lotus will keep Raikkonen, probably Grosjean as well, especially if Grosjean keeps his nose clean. So I'm supposed to pit this lap, but I think I'll probably stay out for a little bit longer as the skies do look rather dark there. Oh, as I lock up and run wide once again. Hamilton will definitely have DRS on me now, and he's right alongside me. Oh, as I do manage to get in front of him, but I had to sacrifice all my curves. Let's see, there we go, his DRS is flipped open. I think my setup will allow me more straight line speed, so it's going to play into my hands there, yes, fortunately. Oh, as I run wide again, I'm really starting to lose grip from these tyres. He's alongside me once again, but again I get a better exit and I've got better straight line speed. So I need to be really careful with these tyres now. They are really starting to wear. Like I said, I should be pitting this lap, but I'm not going to because those skies look a bit dark. I don't want to be pitting twice. Because at the moment I'm in second place and not far behind first place. I could pit, but then I'd have all the work to do again, especially if it starts raining only a couple of laps later. So let's hope it rains, then I'll be a pit stop less than everyone else. So yeah, going back to the drive movements then. There's a lot of rumours that Sauber will be signing Hulkenberg. And is it Gutierrez, I believe, from GP2? Someone from GP2. Kobayashi will get the boot, which I guess is fair enough. He's not particularly shone, is he? Not like Perez, who's got the McLaren drive next year. He's not particularly shone, which he's done alright. He had that podium in Suzuka, but I think overall he's had his time, personally. If he goes away and finds some sponsors, I think he'll probably come back and find a drive, but other than that, I think that's probably about it. His time in Formula 1, unfortunately for him. So Red Bull, obviously we've already got their drivers confirmed. We've touched on Lotus and McLaren. Obviously I just touched on there. Perez should be an interesting one for next year as Raikkonen pits in front of me. Gives me a bit of a chance. Now I'm in the lead. So yeah, Perez next year, I'm looking forward to that. That should be interesting to see how he fares up against Button. It's always interesting seeing new teammates against, or new drivers against new teammates in their teams. So it should be interesting to see how good Rosberg is against Hamilton, because we think we know he's one of the fastest in Formula 1, Hamilton. And Perez against Button, so it's all to look forward to next year. Going on to the championship then, I think, as I run very wide again, lock my inside wheel there. Let's put Hamilton right on my tail again. I should be alright again because I've got better straight line speed. Yeah, there we go. Let's go back to this year's title then. I believe it's Vettel's to lose now, isn't it? It's a little bit boring. In all honesty, I'd rather Fernando win a third title than Vettel, because getting a bit bored of that now. And it does frustrate me how I personally believe Fernando is the better driver. Sebastian Vettel is, don't get me wrong, he's a good driver, but it's not very often we see him in the lead without the fastest car, is it? I mean, people like Hamilton in the 2009 year, he won a couple of races despite having a awful car. If I remember rightly, it was lifting one wheel through the corners, so only having 3 wheels touching the ground, not 4, can't be good, can it? But he still won a couple of races, there's at least one anyway in the 2009 season. Same with Fernando when he went to McLaren and then back to Renault. That Renault was not particularly good that year, but he still managed to win a couple of races that year. So the top line drivers always float to the top, but Vettel, I mean, don't get me wrong, he hasn't won many this season, and he's still obviously in the championship, but he's certainly a good driver. But personally, I still think he's a little way off Hamilton and Alonso at least. Probably on a par with Button, I would say, at the moment. But he's certainly got the measure of Webber. It would be interesting to see another driver go in instead of Webber, wouldn't it? Someone like Alonso or Hamilton or Button or someone like that. It would certainly be interesting to see that. But I'm not so sure, because I think Vettel pretty much owns that team now, and he probably won't like anyone else going in there that can challenge that, because at the moment, if they've got the fastest car, he's almost guaranteed to win the title. I mean, Webber did qualify in pole in the Korean Grand Prix, didn't he? But soon got overtaken and then just generally outraced, I would say, by Vettel. Vettel's definitely the better driver in that team anyway. He's certainly quick anyway, Vettel. He's got probably a more experienced version of Maldonado feel about him. Very quick, but not quite there as an all-rounder yet. I mean, for sure, double and potentially triple world champions can't be crossed off as rubbish drivers, but I think he's just not quite there with the top line. I'm not sure what it is. There's just a little something missing, I personally feel, anyway. So I'd prefer Alonso to win it. I believe he deserves it more, especially this season when he's pretty much never had the fastest car, has he, in any of the race weekends. But he still led the World Championship up until the Korean Grand Prix. So back into this race then, back into the virtual world. I'm still in the lead, as they're still asking me to pitlet. My tyres are reasonably worn, as you can see there. Half a second off my previous lap, so as we jump into the race director screen there then, just have a quick look. Most people are on primes around me, with Maldonado in 5th on options. Doesn't tell you the gaps, which is what I was looking for there, unfortunately. I was looking for the gaps back to the previous cars to see if it's worth me pitting. But just as I say that, it starts to rain. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful rain. It's what I've been waiting for. I've been struggling so much on these tyres. I think I would have been probably at least a second, maybe 2 per lap if I pitted. But it's raining now, so let's see how long it takes for the track to get properly wet. So 45.1 that lap then, not too bad actually, about 7 tenths off my best, but the fuel load is coming off. But it's going along with my tyres wearing, so let's see then. So lap 15 of 28, just over halfway there. Well, it's not raining in this part of the circuit, is it, with the new fancy localised weather by Codemasters in F1 2012? But it was certainly raining towards the end of that last lap, wasn't it? So let's see how much the rain spread over this circuit. When they first mentioned the localised weather, they kept saying sectors, and I was worried that it would be literally sector by sector. So the first sector would be bone dry, and the second sector would be, you know, absolutely chucking it down. It'd be soaking wet, and it'd be literally, you know, 3 parts of the track, 3 sectors would be all. But it does seem to be a bit more flexible than that. I'm not sure. It probably is done in chunks, but I'm not sure how big the chunks are. But it's certainly not too noticeable anyway. It's not as big as I just mentioned there with 3 sectors. It's a lot better than that anyway, which is good. So let's see then. Is that a spit of rain I just saw there? It should be round here. It should start raining somewhere around here anyway. There we go. I just saw another spit, I believe. Yes, there we go. So it's towards the end of the lap. It's raining at the moment, so I'm taking it a little bit easier in these parts of the track, in this final sector, because I know that the track will be a little bit wet. Still think you get a little bit too much grip, even though I believe they patched it to give you less grip with dry tyres on a wet track, but I still think you do get a little bit too much grip with... Ooh, as I get on the curb there, I get snap oversteer. A little bit too much grip with dry tyres on a mildly damp track. Okay, so almost a second down on previous then, so there we go. It's raining to the first corner now, so the rain is certainly spreading. Ooh, so I have to use rich mixture there as he's getting quite close to me. Use all my cars to make sure he stays comfortably behind me, as I know that my tyres are very worn now, so I'm going to have to brake a little bit earlier than I would like into this next corner, as I consider going to standard mixture then, but stay on rich. Okay, so it's still raining then, so the rain's certainly spreading. It wasn't raining here this time last lap. As my engineer tells me, Hamilton's due to pit within the next couple of laps, so I hope he doesn't pit, to be honest, before it starts to rain heavily, because that would just give me a very comfortable win if he used to pit for dries and then next lap pit for inters or something. That would rather ruin my fun more than anything. It would give me the win, but it wouldn't be fun. I'd prefer it to be more challenging. Okay. So, let's see then. Is it still raining? It's still... not really. It's a little bit. It's a bit more on this sector. There's still a little bit there that's not really raining. But I suspect next lap the whole track will be being rained on. How wet the actual track will be, don't know just yet, but we shall see. Okay, so coming to this last sector, and this sector's been raining for the longest, so I suspect this should, in theory, be the wettest. 6 tenths up my previous, so not slowing me down at the moment. As I am, you can really tell, but I am definitely taking it easy, as the track does look damp around here, for sure. Start finish straight then. Let's see what my lap time was. Half a second on my previous, so it's not too bad, but it is certainly raining now. Look at that. It's not just spitting anymore, it is raining, and the track does look wet, especially on that. Look on the outside there. Look, the tarmac does look very wet. So once we get to this next corner, if you look on the outside of the track, in the runoff areas, it certainly looks pretty wet to me. Let's have a look. not too bad on this area actually, it's more wet than the first corner. So it's still raining then, consistently. I wonder how long it's going to take for the track to get wet enough to warrant inters, because I do desperately, I'm crying out for a set of tyres at the moment. It's really quite painful, but I don't want to pit for dries and then have to pit a lap later for inters particularly. My engineer tells me Hamilton's saving fuel, so that should help me a little bit. So it's still just very light in this part of the track, and I suspect with that big black cloud there, so I suspect it will get heavier as we go around. Yes, it's a little bit heavier around here. Ooh, as I get a bit of understeer there, because it's probably a bit wetter here. Yeah, see the outside of the track there looks pretty wet. Yeah, see look, it's really dark tarmac on the outside there, which looks like it's really quite wet. But it's not too bad on track at the moment at least. It's certainly not as quick, and 3 tenths up on my previous, so I think it looks slower than it is actually. But it's still a little bit scary. I don't really want to be spinning off. That's not what I want to be doing at all. Okay, so as I said, I'm just waiting for it to rain because I'm crying out for a set of tyres. If it carries on like this, I think I might just have to pick for a set of options because I'm losing a couple of seconds a lap really than what I should be on. 7 tenths up again on my previous lap, getting towards my fastest lap somehow, despite this rain. So this is what I mean, you shouldn't be able to get anywhere near my fastest lap. I know I've got lighter fuel, but look at the rain, look. I should be able to get nowhere near my fastest lap. Unfortunately I can, so I think it does still need tweaking personally, but I'm still pretty happy. Oh, as I run very wide, they get onto the marbles and right on the outside of the track. That will give Hamilton a position. Oh, look at that, I'm not going to be able to get that back. Wow, I think that was probably a bit wet, or perhaps that was just my mistake, but that's certainly not good. Okay, so I don't believe I'm going to be able to catch him now, especially with his fresher tyres and the wet track. Unless it does get very wet, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, that I do seem to be faster than them on extremely low grip conditions. So not just on about full wet tyres on a wet track, I'm on about dry tyres on a wet track, or vice versa. I do seem to be faster than them in those scenarios. So lap 18 then of 28. Well over halfway now, as the track certainly looks wet around here. Oh, yes, it feels wet, and in the previous game you could tell when it's wet on the track. As my engineer tells me I've lost curves, so good job Hamilton's already been past me, otherwise I would have had nothing to defend him with. Certainly, yeah, look how much slower that is, wow. But it's not catastrophic at the moment. Do I pit for inters? Do I hold out for wets? It's not, like I said, it's dealable at the moment. Oh, as I get, whoa, certainly very wet. What do I do? What do I do? Do I stay on? Oh, I stay out. Okay, so brakes are still neutral. I think I'm in tyres on that menu there. So I'm going to go to inters then by the looks of it. I think yes, certainly should have came in there, but it's very difficult to make a decision in the heat at the moment, isn't it? I'm sure in hindsight, like now, I could say yes, I should have pitted it in then, but I can tell you all on this lap I was thinking the exact same thing. I should have pitted in then, should have pitted in, but I didn't want to lose track position either. Look at that, look, inside wheel completely locked, no braking power at all. It's absolutely sodden out there now. Oh, so as soon as I get back on track, wheels spin up, no grip. This is like a full wet track with dries, so this should be an interesting lap. I'm not even at the end of the first sector yet. Now I am. Someone invites me to play F1 there, but I'm in the middle of making a video at the moment. Oh, look at that, look. Very, very wide. Wow, okay. De La Rosa's managed to overtake me on dries, so this isn't looking good. I need to be consistent here, otherwise if De La Rosa can overtake me in a HRT, that means certainly Webber and Hamilton can pull away from me comfortably, so he lets me pass again. Oh, look at that. That's normally easy full throttle. That was a bit of brake and a downshift. Oh, I just can't get any power down. This is, look at the clouds there, look, absolutely dark. This is difficult. Look at that, look. Oh, another massive slide. Tyres are losing temperature. Unsurprisingly, look how wet the track is. Yeah, see what I was going back to what I was saying a minute ago. Oh, another massive snap onto the grass there. Need to get back onto the track. There we go. There's if you look at the tyres there, let's see there's some spray coming off them. That's generally how you can tell when it's time to pit, because you won't get any spray, and then all of a sudden you probably get some spray. That tells you that actually it's wet enough to work for wets now, or for at least for inters. Okay. So come around, God, look at that, look how slow that is. Over 2 minute lap already, my fastest is 1:44, look. Absolutely crawling around. This is more like it. This is what it should be like a lot earlier on. As I change my tyres to wets there, look. It's a bit of a risk, because obviously I've got no idea. I'm on dries at the moment, but it's so wet that, I mean, look at that. No grip. It's so wet that I think I'm going to try wets, because inters, I think, if it continues to rain like this, at least wets will be the right choice. But right now, wets might not be the right choice. I think inters is probably the right choice right now, but we'll see how that plays out, shall we? Okay then, so stay ahead of Raikkonen. Happy days. Still well behind Webber though. So I have to stay inside the white line there. Very careful to do that. Don't want to be getting a penalty at this stage. And straight away, that's much better. Look at that. I've got grip. Okay, so we know these tyres at least are a reasonably good choice. We don't know whether the Raikkonen and Webber, I believe they all went on inters, so we don't know whether they're going to be thrashing me in a moment, but we'll see. This certainly feels much better than dries did though. Oh, as I run very wide, I think I just overestimated my brake point there. Okay, so doesn't look like Raikkonen's thrashing me at least, so I think I might have made the right choice here. So 9 seconds back to Webber. Let's see what that goes down to. 2.5 to Raikkonen. So then, so 10 seconds down on my previous. So my previous was on dries, but that was when the track wasn't too bad. So this should be considerably up on my previous, despite it being wetter, but of course I've got wet tyres now. So that can only help. Yeah, see a much better speed through there, look. I went down to 3rd at this corner 4, I'm staying in 5th this time. Looks like I'm gaining massive, that's Webber in front of me there. Looks like he's definitely made the wrong tyre choice. Yes, Raikkonen's completely dropped off the back of me. Looks like I'm right on Webber's tail now. He must have gone for inters and he must be the wrong choice. Look at that, look. No grip for him. Let's have fun and go on the outside. Why not with all my extra grip? Ha ha ha, what a good feeling. There's Glock there. Be careful not to use my front wing on him or anything silly like that. So 4 seconds up on my previous. Hamilton, is that Hamilton there? Or is that, I think it's another back marker. There's my engineer on the outside of him as well. My engineer tells me that they fixed Kerrs. It looks like Hamilton's, I think it's the next car ahead looking at the mini-map. But they will have to pit again for wets, which should comfortably hand me the lead. Oh, isn't it nice having a human brain? So yes, I was correct in saying that as I was pitting, the inters were right. But obviously, with my human brain, I predicted that it was going to continue raining. So I went out on wets, even though it wasn't the right choice for the first half a lap. For the second half, it certainly was. So, I mean, I'm not a programmer really, so I'm not sure how difficult it is. But I think the AI do need improving in terms of their predictions anyway. I know the recent patch for Steam at least has improved their tyres. Like a couple of races ago in Bahrain when we all started on full wets and the track was actually dry. It was raining, but the track was dry. They fixed that, so you'll always start on the right tyres now, so with the AI, so that's a step, but I think, get a bit of a slide on there, I think in terms of prediction they're a bit poor, unfortunately, like in Bahrain, for example. We started on the wets, I pitted for the inters, as I could see it was raining, but they pitted for the dries. 1 lap later, pitted for the inters, so just like they've done here, pretty much, but the other way around, so it does need improving certainly, but like I said, I'm not sure how difficult it would be. It's certainly not easy. Well, we already know, don't we, that no one in the world is able to program a robot to be like a human, but I'm sure they could be a little bit better anyway. Perhaps just look at the weather. I mean, their computers, they'll know exactly what the weather's going to do in this race, depending on how they've coded it, but they could have it totally random, or they could have it like it's set weather from the beginning of the race. So the AI will actually know, so I mean, obviously you don't want them to be perfect predictors, because that would be frustrating for you because you can't predict perfectly, but I guess they could use that. They could use, say, a probability rather than just going for whatever tyres right at that time, because like I say, this race now is more or less ruined. It's not ruined because it means I'm going to win, but it's taking away the edge and the challenge of it somewhat, isn't it? Look, 17 seconds ahead of Hamilton, and I might be able to pull away from him some more. We'll see about that. Very different to when I started though, isn't it? Started with a full dry race from the back of the grid. I'm now leading. in a full wet race, so couldn't be more different if it tried. And this weather's a bit more likely than the rain in Bahrain that I had in my career earlier in my career season. I say career and Korea the same, I realise that. Korea like the game mode and Korea like the country. But at this Korean track it is more likely to rain than it was in Bahrain, at least as we had on the first Korean race a couple of years ago. Started behind the safety car in fact, didn't it, because it was hoofing it down and it was rather wet. So 17.5 back to Hamilton now, so I am gaining on him slightly, so he's not going to be able to eat into that lead. Even if he can, he's certainly not going to be able to beat me by probably about 2 seconds a lap it will take now. Yeah, a bit more than that. It will take, so what's that, 6 laps left. Probably take about 3 seconds a lap faster than me to catch up with me by the end of the race now, so that's not going to happen. Well, unless I have a few huge moments. A couple of spins or break my front wing after pit or something like that. But as long as I take it easy now, I should be alright. Not taking it easy on my 2.5 tenths up on my previous. But let's have some fun, why not? I can probably pit and still come out in front of him at the moment. Just about, so it would be a bit more fun if I did that anyway, so I'm going to have a bit of fun and see what laps I can put out in this soaking wet weather. So 18.2 back to Hamilton now, so just confirming that I am indeed pulling away from him. So 23 out of 28 then, 5 more laps to go. Well, 6 if you include this one. 5 after this one. So I'm catching up on another back mark in front of me there. So an 18.5 to Hamilton now. So I'm now used to the rain look. I'm getting my braking points more or less perfect. Not quite, could have braked a little bit later, but certainly since I've done no practice at all on a wet Korean track, I'm now used to it and I've got my braking points. And they're not, in all honesty though, in the rain the braking points aren't much different compared to the dry. Cornering speed certainly is, especially in the high speed, but the braking points are similar. The main difference is that you have to brake a bit earlier because you have to do a slower corner speed, so that's the main difference. But in terms of the actual braking force, unfortunately is similar, which again isn't all that realistic, but it'll do. I've also noticed that my hot lap video I posted the other day, my track guide video of the Korean track, that I was braking considerably earlier than they were in real life. For example, in the first corner, in real life they brake just after the curb starts on the right hand side, but if you've seen that track guide video, I explained that you have to brake just before the curb starts, and it's the same with the long straight. I say brake as soon as you see the apex, but they brake as soon as they get to the curb, so they've the braking isn't quite accurate in F1 2012. That's probably, I think other than that it's very similar, but I think they could probably need to tweak it so that we can brake a little bit later in line with real life, which again, this is much more realistic than 2011 was, so I think for F1 2013 we shall hopefully get even more realistic. That would be good. Not necessarily simulation. I don't see simulation as realistic, and the word Codemasters likes to use is authenticity, isn't it? They don't want to be realistic or a simulator. They want to be authentic, which I guess is fair enough, because if some average players who just want to pick it up every now and again and have a casual play see the word simulator, they automatically think that's not the game for them. So realistic, I guess, would imply the same thing. So authentic gives a more sort of relaxed feel to it being real to life, really. As I run a little bit wide into that hairpin there. So what's the gap to Hamilton now then? Let's have a look. When he crosses the line, we'll be for another 20 seconds or so, well, another 10 seconds from now-ish, I guess. So we're coming up on a few back markers there. Give me something to do, I guess. Who's that? Is that Michael Schumacher or Nico Rosberg? Certainly Mercedes AMG car. So 19.9 back to Hamilton then, so I've been slowly pulling out on him. More or less 20 seconds, so happy days. So I'm most certainly used to this wet track now. Pumping in the consistent laps. We'll see how consistent I am at the end of this lap. So Schumacher slows down for me, but right on my apex. That wasn't ideally helpful. What about back markers? Actually, in the Codemasters forums the other day, I saw someone complaining about how they pulled over in his way all the time in practice, and then raced him, and then pulled over and was getting in the way, and he was hitting them. I personally haven't found that. I found actually that they're much improved from last year for sure, but I haven't had any problems with them at all, apart from that there, but they slow down enough so that I can go around the outside of them anyway. But I find that generally they slow down a lot earlier than last year. They pull over a lot more than last year. They do still speed up in mid-corner, so, I mean, again, it's AI, but, so that's a 49.8, 2/10 off my previous laps, is pretty consistent. So yes, even though, yeah, they are AI, but I find that if it's a straight, they'll pull over nice and early and easily for me. But in the corners, they will speed up a bit because obviously they're not trying not to hold you up. You don't want them crawling around a corner right on your apex, similar to Schumacher did there, but even slower. You want them to be racing speed through a corner like they do in real life, and then let you go on a straight because, or pull to the outside of a corner, I guess. But I quite like the system they've implemented at the moment. Anyway, so 2.5 tenths up on my previous lap then. So looks like I'm on a quick one at the moment. Let's see how it pans out the rest of that. There's another back marker just in front of me there, look. Schumacher not really falling back for me too much there. But halfway between the two back markers, so not a massive speed differential, just a little bit. It's 21.8 back to Hamilton now, so another couple of seconds. So, like I said, unless I make a huge mistake, should be a comfortable win. So who is it? And it's one of the Williams, it's Maldonado. So again, same thing as Schumacher, look. Slows down on my apex. A little bit annoying, but hasn't worried me too much. Just trying to keep my cool, not worry too much. I'm not that worried about lap times at the moment. Having said that, I am half a second up on my previous lap, so I'm certainly not taking it easy either. Coming around these last couple of corners then, let's see. Will I maintain that half a second up on my previous lap? I don't. I lose 4/10 in that last sector. Wow. Didn't really see that I lost too much time. I ran a little bit wide in a couple of corners, but nothing major, so that surprises me. Still slightly faster though, so that's probably me getting used to it and getting faster, as opposed to the track drying up or anything like that. So 23.4 back to Hamilton now then, so yeah, still pulling out nice comfortable lead on him. Ooh, bit of oversteer there. I'm trying to speed up a bit now and set some good lap times. Like I said, just trying to have a bit of fun out here on my own, rather than just cruise to the finish somewhat like Vettel did in the Korean Grand Prix. So 3.8 tenths up then on my previous, and my previous was 2.5 tenths up on that previous, so certainly flying in that first sector. Let's see how I crack on in the middle sector then. Looks pretty good so far. Let's see how the high speed goes. Getting on that curb. You don't really want to touch that curb, but there we go. That's pretty quick through there. As you can see, with my movement on the steering wheel, I'm starting to hustle the car a little bit more now. Making little corrections all over the place, because I'm really pushing it. I'm not worried about tyre wear, because the wets do take a while to wear. So I'm just trying to have a bit of fun, as I said. So 6 tenths up my previous then. Let's see what it's going to be like relative to my last lap in the last sector. So we know my last lap was 4 tenths down on what I could have done. So should, in theory, only be able to improve it. Famous last words. Ooh, as I jump over that curve there. I didn't want to be doing that particularly, but didn't use me too much time. Might have gained me if anything, but not very much. So let's see then. Could be a second up. What is it? 4 tenths up. So again, I've lost a couple of tenths in that last sector. So not going too well there, is it? That's just jumping over that curve, I should think. 49.2, 25.6 back to Hamilton then. So I'm improving, but he's obviously probably staying consistent. So I am rather thrashing him at the moment, aren't I? 27 and 28 then. 2 more laps, including this one. Nice cruise to the line. Wouldn't have Alonso loved that in the Korean Grand Prix? Okay, so the end of the first sector then. So 4 tenths down almost. Not wanting to be doing, but we know how quick that first sector was on last lap anyway, so can still get an overall faster lap if I do better middle and last sectors. Especially the last sectors, we know can go around half a second up in that last one alone. Couple of back markers in front of me then. Let's see if they do the same thing as Maldonado and Schumacher did and hold me up on that same apex, which which is in a couple of corners time.
We have a 26-second gap to the car behind you.
It's Kobayashi in the Sauber. Let's see then. Looks like he's going to. He certainly did. Exact same thing. Strange, that, isn't it? Didn't really lose any time though to him. I'm rather used to them doing that now. So it's still 3.5 tenths down though. It's still all to play for in this last sector. As I said, I can gain half a second if I get a good one. It's looking pretty good so far. Oh, it was until I got that rather large moment there over the large curb. Again, skipping over that curb. I don't really want to be doing that, but I do need to turn in reasonably early for that corner, otherwise it runs me into the wall. So yeah, half a second down as expected. It wasn't a good last sector, was it? So back up to 49.8 then. Let's see what I can do on this lap. So it looks like another Mercedes in front of me, is it? Rosberg if it is. So look, my tyre wear barely even visible. Still got a bit of fuel left, so let's go to rich mixture. Have a quick last lap, why not? 28, and it is indeed Rosberg. Oh, as I went a little bit wide into that chicane, but oh, another massive snap of oversteer. That's pretty much scuppered my fastest lap. Well, not fastest lap, but faster than previous laps. Yeah, see, half a second down already, and my previous laps, first sector wasn't even fast. So let's see what I can do though in the middle sectors. Why not? Pretty good couple of corners there. There's a lot of wheel skid marks on the floor there. Still gaining on Rosberg. Let's see then if he pulls over in the same spot. I'm a bit closer to him now than I was on the others though, so he might not, but we'll see about that. I think he's going to, you know. Yeah, I love that spot, don't they, for their blue flags. So I decided to go up the inside of him there, or he decided to pull over, either way. So it was a bit different, but it was the same spot that he let me past. Okay then, so middle sector, let's see. 3.5 tenths down, so gained a little bit, but not a lot. This is certainly not going to be, well, it might be faster than my previous lap, but it's certainly not going to be my fastest wet lap, is it? But it's the fastest lap of the race, I think I'll be forgiven. Bumping over that curb again, doesn't matter now. Last corner then, onto the home straight. And there we have it, look. What's the time going to be? A 49.9 it was as I crossed the line, so not a brilliant lap. So there we go then. Fernando Alonso is first in Korea. He wishes. So starting last on the grid, all the way up to first. Bit of help from the weather, but even without the weather, I fancied my chances, to be honest. And there we go then. That was a 50% race. 25 points, even though it's a quick race, so there's not actually going to be any difference there. My fastest lap was 3 tenths down on the fastest lap because of the rain. But there we go. So 50% race then. I do plan to do a 100% race at some point, but it won't be anytime soon, I can tell you that now. It'll probably be after Christmas, if anything, because it obviously takes a lot of time commitment to do 100%, as it's taking quite a bit of time commitment just to do this 50%. So that was that then. My next video will probably be another online race, I would say. I am going to do, probably with my Steam group, some online races every Monday evening. So I've already invited the few of you that are in the group. I've got 5 in the group so far, including me. So if any of other you guys want to play with me and my group, I guess, in Steam, feel free to add me. I'll put links in the description. I want a nice healthy online race. So like I said, every Monday evening is what I'm planning provisionally, but that can always change. So my next video will probably be an online race, possibly from this Monday's races, or possibly from another one. I'm not too sure yet. We will see about that one, but if not, it'll be an online race from something else. And after that, I'll do my next Korea. The Korea mode, not Korea the country. So that'll be a qualifying session next. So don't forget to subscribe to hear it here first. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.